Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over the water to Denmark once again, and as you may have guessed from a new glass, we are going to go to one of my favourite Scandinavian breweries, Amager Bryghus, who have just celebrated their 10th anniversary. So a big congratulations to these guys. We're going to have a look at one of the 3 Mobster series beers that they released to celebrate. So the first one we're going to have a look at is the Dario the Dark Dawn, which is a double mash Russian Imperial Stout. This guy's a bit of a beast, and it comes in at 11% ABV, so it should be really quite nice, this one. The other 2 beers in the series, of course, are the Mariana the Moody Milf, which is a barley wine beer, and they also have the Cody the Crooked Cop, which is an old ale. I felt those 2 maybe needed a little bit more time to mellow out, but the Imperial Stout is probably good just now to drink, and I wanted to do one of these reviews of these beers to kind of say congratulations to Amager. You know, these guys, they're a very humble company. They let their beer do the talking, and you know, that's what you want from craft beer companies. I think that's the best way to go. I've never had a bad beer from these guys. They're hands down one of the best breweries you're going to find in Scandinavia, and Denmark, of course, is a country that has some really good beers and breweries these days. Copenhagen, where these guys are from, is one of the best beer cities in the world. So if you haven't tried any of the Amager beers, pretty much pick a style of beer that you quite like, and I'm sure you'll be pretty impressed with Amager's offering of that. You know, probably my favourite beer from these guys has been the Amager Batch 1000. That's one of the best West Coast style IPAs I've reviewed for you on the channel. Herr Fredriksson, of course, the Imperial Stout. That's one of the classic Danish Imperial Stouts as well. So pretty much at either end of the brewing spectrum, whether it's an IPA or a really dark beer, an Imperial Porter or an Imperial Stout, these guys do some really good quality stuff. So a huge congratulations to Amager Bryghus on their 10th anniversary. I actually went over to the brewery for their 10th anniversary party, which was where I got this. Look at this, is a bit of a beast of a glass. It's actually quite heavyweight, but I bought the 3 of the new beers that they did, and I got to speak to Morten very briefly as well, which was quite nice. It was quite nice to say hello to him. But yeah, a very good brewery from Denmark. Congratulations to them once again on their 10th anniversary. But we'll get on to the actual review now. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Amager Bryghus before. I think this is review number 17 or so. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Danish beers that are reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, of course, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys, and the support you give the channel is hugely appreciated. And do in particular let me know about some of the more random Danish beers and breweries that I should check out, because as I've learned very recently, there are quite a few random things going over in Denmark, and like I say, they're one of the best beer countries around at the moment. So yeah, to tell you a little bit about Amager Bryghus then. So as I've told you before, Amager Bryghus are based in Kastrup in Copenhagen in Denmark, and these guys are probably one of the best known Danish craft brewers, probably the best known Danish craft brewer and the biggest Danish craft brewer that actually brew their beers in Denmark. So the brewery was established back in April 2007 by 2 friends, Morten Valentin Lundsbach and also Jakob Storm, both of whom were really quite avid home brewers. So apparently in school the pair were forced to do a chemistry and physics project together, so they wrote about the fermentation process that went on in beers. So they had a very keen interest in this from a very young age, but both gained their brewing diplomas from the Scandinavian Brewing School in 2008, just after they established the company, and you know, they've gone on to grow quite significantly since then, and they're a very highly decorated brewery these days. So their first brewery is still operational. It's located in Tornby, which is in the southern part of the city, really close to Kastrup Airport, of course, and they've been constantly expanding this facility over the last few years, but they've also secured a new, bigger facility, which is a little bit even closer to the airport than this one. That's currently under renovation, and I think they said that it was going to open sometime late in 2017 or early 2018. So, you know, it's really cool to see these guys expanding a little bit. They deserve the success that they've had. As I say, the thing I really like about this company is that they just let their beers kind of do the talking. So if you get the chance to try some of the Amager beers, I highly recommend that you do, because like I say, one of the best breweries that you're going to come across in Scandinavia. And probably one of my favourite points about this brewery is their collaboration series. They brew with a lot of different breweries across the world. They've brewed with Opigårds and Malmö Brewing Company here in Sweden. They do quite a lot of beers with different breweries over in America. They've done some with Australian breweries as well, so the collaboration series probably is one of the kind of quirkiest points about this brewery. But anyway, that's enough about these guys just now. You can check out all the links in the description below for any other information and stuff that you'd like, and do make sure you check out my other reviews from Amager as well. So yeah, to read the little blurb that they like to put on these beers. So Dario Dodano's path to fame and fortune has not always been an easy one. To rise to be the undisputed head of the Chicago outfit required a great deal of tactical skill and smooth talk, and when that was not enough, Dario was known and feared for letting his Thompson Annihilator do the talking, at 900 rounds per minute. His temper was known to be as dark as a Calabrian complexion. However, very few people knew that Prohibition had ignited an interest in Dario, an interest only his wife Mariana and a handful of his closest family members knew of. Dario had started home brewing. In the club with the boys he would be drinking Canadian moonshine, but he missed his beer terribly. Also, he was growing tired of the mobster life with its constant quarrels, so when a Russian friend from an associated gang told him about a style of beer that he used to drink in his cold, miserable country, Dario was instantly curious. A beer designed to be rich and warming for the bone-chilling St. Petersburg winter nights. So in the kitchen of Dario's Southside mansion, this unlikely duo happened to create what was probably the first Russian Imperial Stout ever brewed in Chicago. A beer so rich, powerful and delicious that it simply could not be kept a secret for long. Quickly thereafter, Dario retired as Don, only happy to pass on responsibilities. Instead, he opened Dadano and Dalonikov Brewing Company with his Russian friend, thus effectively being one of the true pioneers of American craft brewing. So yeah, quite an interesting one that actually. So yeah, the specs on this beer, as I mentioned to you, it's an 11% Imperial Stout. This one, the malts used in this one are Pilsner, Pale, Carrot Aroma, Munich and roasted barley and chocolate malt. There's also some wheat malt in there as well, and it says hopped with Columbus and Centennial, and it's a US ale yeast strain that they've used in this one. So yeah, like I said, one of the 3 beers in the Mobster series, along with Mariana the Moody Wolf Barley Wine and also Cody the Crooked Cop Old Ale. So yeah, I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little quick look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. So where's my cursor? There we are. So yeah, as you can see, there's Dario with his Thompson Annihilator on the front there. You can see this little part down here is a little bit different because it's the 10th anniversary beer. Amager Bryghus, 2007 to 2017, product of Denmark. It's got the standard Amager Bryghus bottle cap on this one, but yeah, this should be a really nice beer, and we'll get it out and get on with the tasting then. So yeah. So yeah, nice smoky opening on this one, and we'll get it out and into the glass. And one thing I will say is that at the Amager Bryghus party that they had, it took a lot of willpower not to drink these 3 beers when they were available on tap. And the main reason that I wanted to do that was so that when I'm tasting these beers for you on the channel, that this is my first taste of them. So I thought of you guys when I was actually at the Amager Bryghus party, but it was really nice. I had a nice hot dog, I had some of their other beers, I had the Winter in Bangalore, which again is another really quite nice beer from these guys that I enjoy. So yeah, it was really cool to actually have that beer on cask and try it. They also had one which I think was called No Curry and Rice or something like that. It's an Imperial Pils that was good, but it was really cool to go there and speak to Morton. And I'll tell you something, you can smell a lot of nice kind of almost vanilla note coming off this one, and a lot of sweet chocolate as you open it up. But as you would expect from this beer, it's poured a really nice dark ebony rosewood colour. There's a solid kind of 3/4 finger of a frothy beigey tan head on this one. There's 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass there, quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head, but it looks exactly as you would expect from an Imperial Stout, and it was really syrupy as well. I always find that when you have a big Imperial Stout, the higher the alcohol, the more syrupy the beer tends to be. But let's have a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. That one's actually got a good little bit of fruity sharpness to it. But underneath, you know, you're getting everything that you'd expect. There's a good bit of kind of just red fruity character. To me it comes across as a little bit of a kind of raisiny or plum sort of thing. There is that little bit of sharpness to it. But yeah, you know, you have everything underneath that you'd expect. There's a good bit of earthy hop in there, of course, as well. And maybe a little bit of slightly floral, grassy character as well. But that's quite minimal. Mainly the hops are earthy and there's a good bit of red fruitiness as well. But the malt base is where all the complexity is going to be. So yeah, you can smell just an almost little bit of a kind of brown bready character from this one, in my opinion. There's a good bit of roasted black malt in there, just kind of, you can just smell a little bit of that sort of underpinning the beer. There's a good bit of kind of sweet, milky chocolate. There's also a little bit of darker, kind of cocoa-y quality to this one as well. I think there's some kind of toasted brown sugar in there as well. To me it comes across as a little bit of a slightly kind of just toasted caramel. It's not quite as dark as like a sort of treacle or molasses thing. This beer does have a good bit of that almost kind of bready, grainy character to it. It smells really nice actually. Yeah, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one. I think there's a bit of woody or nutty character coming out of this one as well. And of course when it's a big 11% beer like this, you are going to get some of these notes, and of course these will come out more as you age the beer. I might get another one of these and just age it a little bit and see how it comes out. But I just wanted to review one of these for you while it was close to their 10th anniversary. But yeah, that smells nice. Just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one. I'm actually getting a little bit of vanilla coming out of this one, just as my nose adjusts to it a little bit more. That's quite interesting because I don't think they have, I'm pretty sure they haven't added vanilla or anything like that to this brew, but it smells really, really quite nice. So without further ado then, let's get stuck into this beer. So this one is Dario the Dark Dawn, one of the 3 Mobster series beers that Amager Bryghus released in April 2017 for their 10th anniversary. So once again, a huge congratulations to the guys at Amager Bryghus for this one, and I'm sure they've got another very good 10 years ahead of them, probably even longer than that. So let's get stuck in. Skål. That's nice. It comes across really quite differently to the other stout beers that I've had from these guys in the past. I think I've got this just at the right temperature as well. I took it out of the fridge maybe about half an hour ago. Fridge was at 6 degrees. It says to serve this one between kind of 9 and 12 or so. But this is nice. To me, this one's leaning just a little bit more towards the roasty side of things. It's a big kind of roasty Imperial stout. The other ones I've had from these guys, like the Herr Fredriksson and the Beer Geek Brunschweasel, of course, and even the Game of Arms, which was a porter right enough, they've all been a little bit sweeter than this. This one, to me, comes across just a little bit more kind of roasted and bitter. Of course, that might change a little bit with age right enough. But I do like the slightly more roasty, bitter backbone that this beer has. You know, the thing it does is it covers the alcohol warmth as well. The alcohol warmth in this one really isn't that apparent, but this is nice. So the first thing you're going to notice about this beer then, as I've alluded to, is that it's got a lot of that kind of roasted, bitter, kind of black malt on this one. That's kind of underpinning the whole thing. You can feel that dry, bitter character at the start, and then it starts to push its way out a little bit more as you move further and further into the aftertaste. There's a good bit of a sweet, kind of dark chocolate cocoa character on top of that. Yeah, you get a little bit of this kind of lighter, more milky chocolate as you just get beyond the initial kind of impact of the beer. You do get that nice little bit of just lighter, milky chocolate character. I'm not picking up too much in the way of brown sugars in this one. I was picking that up in the aroma, but it's not too apparent in the flavour of the beer. It does seem as if that's pushed back a little bit by the chocolate and the kind of roasted black malts that are in the beer. Yeah, you can pick out, it's actually just in the middle. When you pay attention, you can kind of pick that up a little bit more. There, you can get some of these kind of nice, these nice brown sugar, but it's just as you kind of, just before these roasty black bitter malts just start to push their way out a little bit more. So you can pick up, it's a kind of, it's got a bit of the lighter caramel aspect to it, but it does have some of the darker treacle molasses, and I think there's a very slight licorice flavour to this beer as well. This is all going on, of course, in the middle of your palate. Yeah, right in the middle of the palate, you can pick up that nice chocolatey character. The toasty caramel comes out as you move a little bit further out, and you can just feel these roasted black malts just underpinning that. The vanilla that I was picking up in the flavour, in the aroma of the beer rather, isn't really coming out in the flavour. I think that must just be a glitch in the matrix or something like that. Maybe my nose isn't quite right, but I don't really pick that up in the flavour of this one. But it's really nice, this. To me, it comes across as just having a little bit more of a roasty, bitter character to it than some of the other Imperial Stouts that I've had from Amager Bryghus. So it's a nice little bit of a change of pace. I do like it how it shows you just the kind of diversity that you can get from beer styles like this. It really is quite nicely done. I wouldn't expect anything less from these guys, of course, though. On the hoppy side of things with this beer, of course, it's a lot of earthiness. So in the back corners of the palate, there's a good bit of earthy bitterness there. It smooths out as you come further forward, and there's maybe just a little tiny bit of a very slight kind of grassy floral sort of thing going on as you go around the front curve of the palate. Behind the front curve of the palate, of course, that's where you're going to get this little oily bubble, and you'll find the nice kind of red fruity esters in there. The fruity side of this beer, to me, it's got a little, I think it's raisins really that's coming out of this one for me, raisins and sultanas. It's got just that little bit of sharpness to it, but it's not quite as sharp as some of the red fruity esters you're going to come across in other beers. But the main point about this one, I wanted to say, I think the main kind of distinctive feature about this particular Imperial Stout is the kind of roasty bitter quality to this one, because that's a bit of a change of pace in my experience for when it comes to Amager beers. That's the kind of distinctive quality, I guess you would say, of this particular brew from these guys, and it works out really nicely. And I can see this would actually be a really good win if they released this as a kind of winter Imperial Stout. That's what this one, I think, really kind of fits into. It's got that kind of, they're talking on the label, of course, about the kind of heart, the sort of warming qualities. To me, this one would actually come across as a very good winter Imperial Stout. That's a kind of good assessment of this beer, I think. But once again, it's really, really nice, and it's a fitting beer, of course, to celebrate your 10th anniversary with. It's cool to see that they are still experimenting within different beer styles and stuff like that. You know, it's really nicely done. But as I say, I wouldn't expect anything less from Amager Bryghus. And I do find that the beer just mellows out and smooths out a little bit as your palate adjusts to it. Those roasty bitter characters, though, they do stay there, but the kind of sweeter aspects of the beer start to come out a little bit more as you get more and more used to this beer. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, I would say this beer is pretty full-bodied. Carbonation's very smooth. It's a big oily mouthfeel, this one. There is a little bit of a creamy aspect to it as well. The hops on this one are overall, they're quite smooth. It'll smooth out, of course, even more with age, but there's a little bit of earthy bitterness in the back corners of the palate. The malt base in this one it does have a little bit of sweetness to it as your palate adjusts to the beer, but mainly for me, this one is a little bit more roasted and bitter than some of the other Amager beers, darker beers that I've come across before, of course, and there is a little bit of a kind of red, fruity, juicy character to this one too. But you know, the main point of this one was to do one of these Mobster series beers for you, review it, and congratulate them for their 10th anniversary. You know, they've produced this beer is a really nice kind of change of pace when it comes to Imperial Stouts from Amager, and they've done a great job with it. So once again, congratulations to these guys on their 10th anniversary. One of the beers that they've produced is a really fitting tribute, so we'll see how we get on with the other ones in the near future. But yeah, it's been really cool to review this one for you. Dario the Dark Dawn, one of the 3 Mobster series beers for Amager Bryghus' 10th anniversary. So you'll see me review Mariana and Cody at some point in the near future. I'll talk to the brewery and ask them how long they reckon they should be left to mellow out a little bit, because the old ale and the barley wine, like I say, need a little bit more time, I think, to kind of get the best flavour profile from them. But this one has been really cool to review for you, so I hope you've enjoyed my review. Once again, thank you for watching. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know your favourite beers from Amager Bryghus, of course, and make sure you check out my other reviews from these guys. They don't produce a bad beer in my experience, so if you're new to the Danish craft beer scene, this is a brewery that you definitely want to check out. So yeah, Dario the Dark Dawn, the Imperial Stout at 11%, for the Mobster series from Amager Bryghus in Copenhagen, Denmark. Until the next time, it's landed just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Make sure you check out this beer if you get the chance. Skål.